Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Mod Warframe. Today we're going to take a look at the new primary release in the update 14.5, the Corpus Ice Gun, the Glaxion. Now the Glaxion is a freeze ray that turns enemies into ice, doing cold damage as its primary damage. This weapon was originally teased a very long time ago on one of the dev streams, and has finally made it into the game in the most recent update. At 12.5 damage per tick though, this weapon is never going to be a huge damage dealer, and this is kind of reminiscent of the nuker I discussed in a previous video. This weapon is more for crowd control than straight up damage. Now the reason for that is that even if it doesn't proc the cold damage to slow down an enemy, the weapon as standard slows down enemies anyway. Now this is arguably better at crowd control than the nuker, and this might come as a shock to some people. Because if you intend to use the nuker in conjunction with a primary weapon to do the majority of your damage for you, then you're going to be forever switching weapons backwards and forwards. However, the Glaxion can be used with a decent melee to slow down enemies to be able to melee better, or to slow down capture targets to stop them from running away, all without switching weapons once. Now, the Glaxion, however, is not a hugely expensive weapon to build, with the most expensive resource being a former. However, the problem is the Glaxion cannot currently be built in the game right now, unless you already have the cryotic resource already stored up from the event. Now, cryotic is a resource that will only come from the excavation game mode that was introduced in the Cryotic Front event. However, this is currently not in the game and will hopefully be added in a game as soon as possible. Now, the weapon is another dojo weapon, meaning you're going to have to be a member of a clan to pick it up, and the clan's going to have to have done the research to be able to copy the blueprint in the first place. Okay, so let's start modding the Glaxion. We'll go with Serration, Heavy Caliber, Split Chamber, Rhyme Rounds, which is the event mod, and we'll go with a rank 8 cryo rounds. Now, I wouldn't recommend switching this per faction because we're just trying to boost the cold damage of the weapon. However, if you don't have Rhyme Rounds, I would switch it out for an ammo mutation just to help with that ammo consumption a little bit more. Okay, and now on to my recommendation, and would I recommend people picking this weapon up? And honestly, and this is the first time I'm going to say this, and that is no, I wouldn't recommend it. The ammo consumption, even with the recent buff, means that in any longer run missions, it's going to struggle with ammo constantly. And the damage is far too low, and even though the cold-based crowd control is fairly useful, there are far better weapons out there that do crowd control as well as damage, like the Amprex for example, and the electric damage that points out. Normally, weapons with a very low damage will get a very good crit rate, but the Glaxion doesn't at 5%. Now, although it has great crit damage, which honestly I can't really explain. Now, it really doesn't feel like there is a saving grace for this weapon at all. And as you can see in the background, the weapon's damage drops off very quickly. And Tower 2, Void and above, you're going to struggle to kill enemies even with a whole clip of ammo, at least your heavier units. Now this also leads me on to whether I feel it's worth putting Former on the weapon. And the answer to that is also a resounding no. Even with all more elemental mods on there, the ammo mutation as well, this weapon's just currently not worth the cost and effort that needs to be put in, with no really good weapon at the end of it. Even with multiple Former, it's still very unlikely to be able to deal with Tower 3 and above, although it could probably deal with Tower 2 a bit better than it does now. Now the weapon itself is a bit of a fun weapon. It's able to deal with the majority of the enemies on the star chart, although it drops off when you start hitting areas like Pluto. However, it feels more like a weapon put in for people to have a laugh with than as a serious weapon designed to go high level with. As always guys, thanks for checking out the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps out immensely. Have a great day guys, bye bye.